What is going on? Welcome back to the channel. So today is July the 15th. I want to give you a quick pre-market update, go over some of the hot movers and what big money is doing today. Before we get into any of that, make sure you guys hit that thumbs up. And with that, let's get right to it. So CPI just dropped. It did come in line with the forecast on a month over month. So it came in at 0.3, forecast of 0.3. Year over year came in slightly higher. So 2.7 versus 2.6. At the end of the day, there was going to be two scenarios how this played out. Either it was going to come in lower, which of course then the market would take that and assume that we're going to have a little bit sooner rate cuts and earlier rate cuts, which would be very optimistic for the market, or it would be coming in line or hotter than anticipated, which depending on the data, the market might freak out over. You can kind of see once it did kind of come out, it is a little bit more of a seesaw type of effect. So for face value, people automatically started to assume that it was bullish. Now people are starting to look at the true data. And this is kind of the comical thing about the market, because people just very often just react based on these numbers and they don't really look at the true data. So if we kind of look under this column right here, I won't go over it extensively in this pre-market, but essentially you do see energy going up 0.9. Shelter was a hot one as well that you really wanted to watch for this time around, because a lot of analysts in the market were saying that shelter was going to be the cause of higher inflation down the line. So shelter came in at 0.2. So if you kind of rule that out, that does mean that the other basket items did in fact go significantly lower, month over month, of course. So yeah, I do agree that this data is good. Possibly enough for it to keep where it is right now for the market, but it doesn't really justify a rate cut. And I feel like the market is going to realize that and possibly freak out. Something to keep in mind. Of course, I could be wrong. Getting right to it though, SoFi is kind of just somewhat mixed associated to that. Maybe it was institutions were really hedging that they wanted a rate cut, and maybe that's why they're selling off a little bit. Nothing substantial though. It's only down 12 cents. That doesn't make that big of a difference. But shorts aren't doing anything this morning. 14.4% of the free floats being shorted. Works out to be 156.22 million shares overall are being shorted. With it right now at 21.24, trading between this R3 and this R2. So 20.34 is going to be a strong support. 22.57 is going to be the next strong target / resistance. So in my opinion, I do still feel that the market is going to continue to move higher. Just you're going to most likely in the first hour, as what we always do, have a little bit of a dip before it kind of gets bought up as per usual. But I could be wrong. Maybe it just goes up straight forward and that's it. But moving on, Nvidia. So obviously there was big news that did drop after hours yesterday on how Nvidia is going to be resuming sales of their H20 chips to China. So that's going to result in about $50 billion in potential revenue from what I've seen estimates online. So as a byproduct, it is moving up 4.6%. Shorts aren't doing anything, and this obviously isn't a squeeze play. 1.04% of the free floats being shorted. Works out to be 244 million shares overall are being shorted. Right now with it at 171, trading between this R3 and this R2, so doing fairly well in comparison to a lot of other growth stocks, but 165 is going to be a strong support. I personally don't see that being touched today, and then 174 is going to be the next strong target / resistance, which given the circumstances of what just came out, I do feel like that is realistic that it'll touch that. Whether it'll get above that or not, maybe not. I might just bounce off of that and consolidate. So for those of you that are day traders, kind of just take note of that. And then moving on from here, ticker is XAGE. It is up 157% because of this news. So it looks like they announced a merger with a plasma company, and they are terminating their 2020 biolabs transaction. I kind of quickly scroll through this just to see for dollar value wise how much this partnership is going to result in and whatever else. It doesn't really clearly state that. So at the end of the day, just do your own due diligence. But as far as this goes, it's already above all the key fib levels. So ultimately, it's just going to be whole numbers. So kind of just watch for that, unless they do drop news on exactly some additional details, because I kind of went over potential revenue, but not like what XAGE investors are going to get. So it's kind of gray right now, but I think at the end of the day, there's a certain level of FOMO. 1.66% of the free float is being shorted, so short term going to be a big deal for this for today. So it is just going to be speculation on what this deal does mean. Moving on, BBAI, a very speculative stock, and of course it is moving higher, so that's good to see. A lot of tech is moving up because of Nvidia, so that should be a pretty good thing for this. When it comes down to shorts though, they've been very reactive, slow and steady though. You can see no crazy moves, just slow and steadily moving higher. 29.27% of the free floats being shorted, works out to be 84.29 million shares. Right now with a 714, it is trading right now between this R1 and the pivot, so 589 is going to be a strong support, and then 726 is going to be that key pivot for it today. So hopefully in the first hour you'll see it break above that and trade between this R2 and this R1, or better yet between R3 and R2, but nonetheless watch for 726. And then last but not least, NIO. So NIO did put out their weekly registration numbers, or sorry, I guess not NIO did that, but the weekly registration numbers did come out. Not necessarily the best. So Firefly did drop. It looks like NIO did drop, as well as Onvo. So not really the best, but NIO's technicals do really point to having kind of higher highs. So NIO is moving higher, a lot of big volume, so definitely watch for that. Shorts aren't doing anything during the pre-market, but 12.39% of the free floats being shorted, works out to be 191.1 million shares overall being shorted, with at 425 trading between this R3 and this R2. So 419, just watch for that to be a strong support, and then 445 going to be the next strong target / resistance. In my opinion, I don't see this R3 being touched today, but potentially over the next couple of trading days, it definitely could. And of course, once that is broken, it's just a hop, skip, and a jump to this $5 range. So let me know your thoughts on these stocks. Don't forget to hit that thumbs up and subscribe. I always greatly appreciate that. One final thing, pop over to my Patreon. I give buy signals on stocks, options, crypto, many of which have been absolutely on point and bangers. Definitely worthwhile to pop over there and take a look. With all that, appreciate all of you watching.